Good morning. So it's the end of April, and I did say that I was going to make a video to see like how the stats would be in terms of IT job market, if the market was going to soar or not, and it certainly has. So in this video, it's the 29th of April, 2022, and I'm covering off. Well, it's the last working day of it. So usually in April, what tends to happen is that you have a big change up in the IT industry in terms of jobs. So what usually happens is that in April, people get paid their bonuses, and when they get paid their bonuses, they leave. Sometimes, not everyone. Um, and then also what happens is that you get a little bit more of a influx of cash for projects and what have you. So what a lot of contractors tend to do is just hold on until the end of April, or look probably within May to start looking for their new contract. And the best way to actually see that demand is to just look at the stats. So that's what I'm going to show you in this video. And this, to me, it's really exciting. I've been contracting in IT for since 7, 8 years ago, 2013. I don't know, you do the math. And I've started Azure in 2015, so a good 7 years ago. And the demand is slowly creeping up, but now it's just, in my opinion, a spike. So let me share my screen, and let's go from there. But I will be covering not only Azure but AWS. I'm starting to get jobs for that as well. Just recently training, and just doing a little bit of labs and stuff like that. I'm gaining the confidence. So here we're going to dissect things into permanent and then contract. And I'll tell you the reason why I do that. So as you can see for Azure DevOps, and I'm going to be looking at 3 job ranges. So there's, I don't know why it keeps switching like that. But anyway, one is Azure DevOps, or I'm going to be looking for DevOps, but I'm going to be starting off with Engineer first. For some reason, the industry goes Engineer, DevOps, Architect. So those are the 3 lines of which I'm actually going to look at. And although you will find that job spec, when you read it, for engineer, it actually is DevOps or automation or anything of the sort. So I'm just, I'm covering all the bases really. So let's look at engineering. We see a post for 9,246. I've never seen it this high. Seriously, this is spectacular. But if I break it down, what I'm seeing is that the not stated on the job, the salary, is about half of the 9,246. So to me, that's telling me that some people are like hunting or looking around to see what CVs they can gather, in my humble opinion, or basically they're just trying to say to their client, look, I've gone to the market, I'm trying to look for an engineer for you, and I've listed off all the things that basically you wanted for the engineer. And what I can find is that, here are the candidates, here's your 3 high candidates. Candidate 1 is looking for 70 grand. The other candidate 2 is looking for 90. Candidate 3 is looking for 110. And this is what you probably get throughout those range. Usually they go for the guy in the middle. And that's normal behavior for a lot of things. If you're into consumption, you're not economics, you'll be able to answer that question. But usually they go for the middle guy. I have no idea why. So if you're actually going to look at sending your CV to a job that's not actually posting the rate, what you need to do is to ask them, okay, where do you fall? Are you in the bottom, the middle, or the end? If they say that you're in top end, ask them what it will take to be in the middle. And if they give you a figure, if you want the job or if you want to be competitive, go for that figure. So anyway, the Azure Engineer, market, 9,000, almost 10. It's almost 10 advertising. If I were to remove the not stated job, it's 4,977. That's still quite high. I couldn't argue with that at all. And then above 100 grand is 289,000 pounds. 289 jobs advertised. I'm seeing this 100K, sorry, my apologies. But 289 jobs advertised above 100 grand. Very good. You know, probably about 3-4 years ago before COVID, if I saw 25 for that posted, I would say that was a lot. Now 289 is just like you can have your selection. Let's change this from permanent to contract. See what hit we got. We got 1,750. Okay, again, high for the market. You know, I've never seen that amount of jobs posted. And I think I'm seeing more jobs posted for two reasons. One is that we've, you know, getting out of the Brexit market, and, or should I say, you know, making the deal with the Brexit. Brexit's over. People are a little bit more, how you say, relaxed in terms of taking risks for projects and stuff like that, and knowing where they want to go. And the other thing is that because people can actually decide whether they're inside or outside R35, now they could just go, you know, steam ahead and be able to get those contracts. Majority of contracts I'm seeing are inside R35, but you know, in having a contract inside R35 does come with an advantage. I could cover those advantages if you want. One of them is that you end up getting, you know, better rates for mortgage, better rates for loans. My credit history, or credit score, should I say, has improved since having an inside R35 role, because basically it makes it look as though that my salary, my permanent salary, is high. So there are some benefits of inside R35. Which one I prefer? Outside, you know. But which one is more prominent for me, or should I say my desire is to be sure that I'm working from home. You know, that's basically all that matters to me. So anyway, going back here, the Azure Engineer, now the behavior that I expect is that when it comes to the permanent side of things, is this, and you got a lot of jobs posted. I don't think you got enough people in the market to be able to fulfill that. So what I usually see is that when jobs are posted as permanent and recruiter agencies aren't able to fulfill that permanent role, and their client is desperate to fill that seat because they need someone to be able to do the work, that role temporarily transitions over from being a permanent posting into a contract posting. And the contract will be 3 to 6 months or 6 to 12 months until they actually find a permanent employee to fill that seat. So, you know, you'll probably see that when it comes to May, this should shift. And I will do a video at the end of May to see if that was right or not. So that's engineering. Let's move over to DevOps. So with DevOps, I would just click on that. That doesn't, yeah, it's taken over my search from one to the next. It's not static anymore, or staying. Anyway, for DevOps, what I'm finding with DevOps is this. In your permanent is 2008. Okay. Sure, half of that job is non-advertised salary, and it's 966. That's still quite high. Before, if I saw like 400 jobs, 500 jobs for Azure permanent, Azure DevOps permanent, that was a lot. But what I'm seeing is quite interesting is that the jobs are advertised very, very low, you know, for certain of these jobs. And it's just like, I wonder the quality of person that they get when it comes to that. But it just goes to show, you know, someone will take that job, but probably somebody won't be there for too long. especially if they're going DevOps, Azure, AWS Engineer, developer, and finance for 50 grand. Well, I really doubt this dick hang around. But anyway, let's see what it is for the contract side of things. 912, 235 jobs not stated with salary. Now, here's the thing. This is where I talk with people a lot. If you're going to do a job, one is going to pay you 50 grand a year, and the other one's going to pay you £700 a day, and possibly, okay, this one's saying three months with scope for longer, but sometimes you can. But why would you want to take a job at 50K? It just doesn't make sense. You're doing the same amount of effort in a contract job that you would in permanent. In fact, you're probably making less effort in a contract job because you're just focusing on the project, not necessarily on task every day. Why would you take a permanent job? It just doesn't make sense. The risk is the same. You could get fired in a permanent job at the drop of a hat, or redundant or something. It just doesn't make sense. But anyway, I digress. The Azure DevOps is posting at 654. That's pretty good, guys. I couldn't complain with that at all. That's a very good hit. Let's see what it is for architect. So just edit the search because I know that it would go to DevOps. Come here, 1,287. Yeah, that's pretty good. Not salary not stated. If I remove that, is 369. Now, I always remove salary not stated because I feel in my heart that some people are just hunting for CVs. Some people are just trying to feel in the market of where things have shifted, So like say, for example, if somebody is like looking for an Azure architect and they don't know if it should be 500, 600, 700, 800, and they put all the criteria within their posting and you apply, the recruiter gets a good feel as to how much money they should be posting their jobs at. So, there you go. But I mean, look at this. First hit, Azure Architect, Platform Architect, Cloud Architect, 500 to 700 euros per day. It's remote and outside R35 because it's in a different country, 9 months to extension. And it's like, why would you want to be permanent? In 700 pounds or 700 euros, which is be like what, 600, 650 pounds a day, you're going to end up being paid, I don't know, above 160. Just do it. Anyway, the market is booming, in my opinion. Now, that's contract. Let me just go back to permanent. I see 3,115 jobs advertised for Azure Architect. If I just take the not stated jobs, it's 1,402. And look, these guys are looking for 2 Azure architects. Okay, you need certificates, but that's just to differentiate of if you take your career seriously or not. If you're a seasoned veteran, blah, blah, blah. What I'm going to see is that, again, a lot of these jobs are not going to be filled in permanent sector. They're going to need someone to do these jobs for them. They're going to take a punt at when it comes to the contracting market. And they'll find somebody who's a contractor to do this for them rather than, wait for that seat to be filled. Some people will be waiting months. Some people even wait up to 6 months. I was going to say years, but it's not. It's, you could wait a long time for a person. So, but you probably fill that role a lot quicker if it's in the contracting, if you look for a contractor. So I've broken this down into stats, or should I say I've used IT job watch to actually find the stats so I could differentiate, or I could find out where things are ranking. So year over year, so this is minus 27, meaning that it's dropped the demand. But the rate's still strong. You know, a lot of things have actually dropped, but I'm not quite sure why. I can't understand. But we'll have to actually see what happens for the next year. But the medium daily rate year over year is in pluses. The ranks drop, but the rates increase. So there's something in the market that's changing in terms of the desire or what's in demand for businesses. And I'll find what that is soon, you know, because I'm curious. But the point being is that look, you know, the salary ratings are pretty good. This is contracting I'm looking at. Let me see what it is for perm. And if I go here for, you know, what is the top salary is 87, but I really, you know, this just basically tells me that you're highly likely chance to get yourself an 87 job than 100, but there are £100,000 jobs advertised. You know, if you know what you're worth, go for it. We quickly do the same thing for AWS Engineering. So again, permanent, refine that. AWS Engineer, permanent. You know, that's a high hit, man. 9,175. Let's do the same thing for contract. 1,605. You know, okay, day rate for that one is not great, but what I can tell you is there are jobs out there. You know, AWS Service Engineering contract, and you know the permanent roles that can't be filled will go over the contracting, and I won't be surprised that goes up to 2,000 for AWS engineers in the next month or so. Let's go for DevOps. Go ahead and refine 2,415. Okay, I appreciate that half of that is, or more than half of that was no salary stated on the job, but 915 for our permanent, pretty good. Let's go for contract. 826, almost equal. Never seen that before. You know, usually permanent will outweigh contracting by far, but now the demand is almost equal. And I think the reason behind that is because permanent salary is more or less having to increase over time to match contract salary, if that makes sense. And because you can actually get a contract inside R35 and have them there for as long as you want now, you know, why would somebody want for a permanent role that's going to pay them half? Now, I know I talk a lot about money. A lot of people say, well, money's not everything. But to be honest with you, money is the greatest tool that you can actually have. It's a tool that you can use to help someone out when they're sick. If your kids need some sort of emergency medical care, if you needed to be able to get on a plane ASAP to go and fly to go and help some family somewhere, money is the best aid for you to get things done. So that's why it's important. Well, important to me especially, and it's important to the people that I mentor. So it's not for everyone, but it's an important aspect of life. Can't do anything without it. Sorry. I digress. So AWS DevOps roles, you know, if I looked at this in January, March, at the end of March, it wasn't this high. Now in April, it's definitely high. If I move swiftly on to architecture and I go permanent, 3,000 hits and more, you know, and if I look at above 100 grand, 259 posted, again, if I saw like 10 of those over a lot before COVID, now it's quite high. If I refine this to contracting, 1,170. And if I take the jobs not posted with salary, easy. It's just like, why would I not do that? £600 per day, 100% remote. So here you go. Here's the dilemma. You could go and get a job paying you £100,000 a year, and you have to have a hybrid rule. So let's say 3 days at home, 2 days in the office, and you have to pay to get to the office out of your £100,000 salary. Or you could come here, look for a job that's going to give you £600 per day, which is probably far more return than a permanent salary. And you could do that for 6 months and 100% remote from home, meaning that you're pocketing more money. Why? Because you're not having the expenditure of paying for a train ticket. You know, it's just a no-brainer. Anyway, let's go for AWS. I look for AWS permanent jobs. And if I look here at the median salary, it's definitely higher than Azure by 10 grand. And the ranking, let's compare the two. 261, 291. Well, this ranking's dropped by more than Azure, but it pays more. That's probably not a fair assessment. Probably if I look at solution architect, 95 minus 265. If I look at architect, can I find solutions architect? No. Well, let's just go for architect. AWS architect here. So that's 90 grand. AWS 85, just short of 5 grand. Interesting. Before it used to be miles apart, now it's actually picking up. So there you go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There is your assessment for the year, for the end of April. And, you know, if you wanted to know when to actually look for your next job in contracting or permanent or anything of the sort, you know, and you want a fully remote job, now is the time. Now is definitely the time. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you do, please like and subscribe. And yeah, I wish you all the best. Thanks. Bye.